Um, the next thing we were actually going to cover was actually how did perfumes and incenses affect you while you were in this heightened state of sensitivity?
While you're on chemo, um, you're you're like I said, in the middle of dying. Um, chemo is killing you. It's killing the cancer, but it's a uh, cornucopia of poisons designed to kill. Um, which is why you should be on chemo all the time. So what I'm trying to get at is your body is actually I do believe it's in a state of self-preservation. So your senses are extremely heightened. You're light sensitive. Um, you can smell everything. You can taste everything. You're basically Super Saiyan Wolverine. Uh, now, along those lines, we're gonna talk about uh, touch on perfumes, incenses, and
Yeah.
you know, foods. Um,
Okay.
Now, if you have a loved one going through chemotherapy and you're going to visit them, whether it be in their home or in the hospital room, um, do not wear perfume or cologne. Um, don't. No strong smelling shampoos, no strong smelling soaps. Everything needs to be mild or non existent. I know when I was going through it, I preferred the smell of BO to the smell of manufactured scents. Um,
Hmm.
because okay, think about it. Think if you're seeing, smelling, and tasting, 10 times what you were before. Now, imagine 5 people in the room, all wearing different colognes and perfumes, and you can't leave.
Hmm.
Um, that's what it's like. You're trapped. You may think it smells nice. You may think you're doing something nice for this person, to kind of bring joy into their life. You're not. You're giving them a headache and you're making them nauseous. Um, uh, there's that. Also, um, foods. Um, if you're making or purchasing foods for someone going through this, ask them what they want. Um, and if they say, hey, I'd really like it if there was no ginger in this, don't put ginger in it. Don't tell them later on, oh, but ginger's good for you. It doesn't matter what's good for them because when you put ginger in their food, chances are that ginger tastes like ammonia. Um,
Mm.
it's in my personal experience, somebody actually did that to me. They put ginger in one of the fruit smoothies, and
Oh,
it
jeez.
yeah, it tasted like I was drinking a litter box. It was bad, and I puked it right back up. So it really didn't help at all.
Jeez. Um, Now, do you want to touch back on fast replicating cells before we move on to the next portion?
Um, yes, I do. We're gonna stay on the subject of taste for a little bit.
Okay.
Um, Also, with once again with foods that you bring or make, um, be prepared to have your feelings hurt because with these fast replicating cells being destroyed, the ham that was delicious yesterday tastes like rancid meat today. And it's not your fault. It's nothing you did. Their taste buds are just out of whack. They're being
Hmm.
destroyed and they're rebuilding themselves. So, just keep that in mind. Don't get insulted. Don't get your feelings hurt. And try to show some compassion. Um, it's for you pregnant ladies or ladies that have been pregnant. I'm fairly sure you'd understand this. What's good yesterday is horrible today. Whereas popcorn and ketchup sounds amazing tomorrow. Um, So just please keep that in mind.
All right. Now you did mention earlier that there are two general kinds of people, the Hardass and the whiner. Uh, do you want to explain exactly what kind of person a Hardass is while they're going through this situation?
Yeah, I do. Now, I've been told that that's the classification that I was in. The hard ass is the person who doesn't really complain. Um, if you ask them how you're feeling, they'll give you the short and sweet of it. Um, it's not because they're not miserable. It's because, one, they don't want to seem like they're whining, and two, so much control has been taken away from them that the only thing, one of the only things they can do is control whether, what they see as, probably manning up or,
Mm-hmm.
being tough, because they don't want to be a burden on other people and, they don't want to be weak, so they're not going to act weak.
Mm-hmm. I would probably fall in that same category. I do like having control of everything. I mean, I like manual transmission cars. I like tweaking my computer. I like having control over a lot of things. So I'd probably file right into that category easily. Um,
There also as a sorry to interrupt you.
that's fine.
Also as a side note, um, for the loved ones of this kind of patient, um, just because they're not complaining doesn't mean they don't feel like crap. Uh, please, by all means, make sure you stop in once a day to make sure they're okay. Um, make sure they don't have a fever. Because if they
Mm-hmm.
have a fever, they need to go to the hospital. And like I said, with the hard ass comes foolish pride.
Mm-hmm.
They think that they can do this all themselves. They cannot. But at the
Uh,
same time, they allow them to have their space. If they
yeah.
only want to talk for 5 minutes, then you know just have a 5 minute conversation. Go about your day. Let them sleep.
Yeah. To touch up on why he means if they have a fever, the reason he says to go to the hospital if you got a fever is because like going through chemotherapy, your immune system's completely shut down. So that's why he's emphasizing if they got a fever, you need to go to the hospital. But anyways, we can move on to the whiner, I guess.
The whiner. I know uh, that term is put a little indelicately, but see tab A. Look who's talking.
Yeah.
Now, the whiner, um, you know, contrary to what I've deemed it and labeled it, um, there's nothing to be ashamed of here. Um, quite often, uh, these people are more sensitive, and they have every right to be. They're going to
Mhm.
complain about the food. They're going to complain about the sheets that are on top of them or underneath them. They're going to take out their pain on other people because that's the only way they know how to.
Yeah.
Um, it's your job as a significant other or loved one or friend to be understanding.
Yeah.
Because once again, these people are dying. Don't look down on them. They just don't know how to handle it. And when they complain about things like food and sheets, it's because the blankets they have on top of them feel like it's 50 pounds of lead. Or,
Yeah.
if there's a crumb underneath them, it feels like needles poking into their back.
Okay.
And we've already touched on food.
Mhm.
That food sometimes just tastes horrible.